and resistance. The Japanese, for their part, expected rapine and pillage. What emerged was a happy surprise for both the conqueror and the conquered. Almost everything MacArthur set out to do, he achieved. He demonstrated that Rudyard Kipling was wrong about occupier country and subject country. The twain did meet. No man rose higher, stirring people with his powerful oratory, than MacArthur. Yet, coming at a time when most of the world's attention was focused on Europe, what he accomplished ended up being one of the worst reported stories in history, observed renowned journalist John Gunther. Today, MacArthur is largely forgotten, just as he predicted. Old soldiers fade away. His accomplishment, which stands at the pinnacle of military occupations, is a remarkable story where America performed well. As General Douglas MacArthur surveyed the devastation and poverty of broken-down Japan, he may have reflected, as he frequently did, on how he was almost always right. At the beginning of the year, in January 1945, he had sent President Roosevelt a 40-page memorandum containing 5 top-secret Japanese peace overtures, 2 obtained through American channels and 3 through the British, all contingent on the United States guaranteeing to preserve the emperor. And what had he gotten in return? A backhanded slap from FDR. MacArthur is our greatest general and our poorest politician. Do presidents have better judgment than generals? Unlike the president, as Japan's plight worsened in the waning days of World War II, MacArthur had come to view the atom bomb as unnecessary. When the new president, Harry Truman, consulted his advisers about the military need to use the atom bomb or not, he never consulted the man who knew the Japanese situation better than anybody, Douglas MacArthur. To complete the conquest of Japan, the President and the Army Chief of Staff, George C. Marshall, planned for the 1-million-man Operation Downfall, an invasion of Japan to be led by MacArthur. Once again, MacArthur disagreed. He thought Japan was on its knees because of the Jimmy Doolittle raids and the naval blockade engineered by Admiral Nimitz. Japan's surrender was just a matter of time as the U.S. Navy continued to sink Japanese ships and cut off imports of food and essential supplies. No bomb or invasion was necessary. Just keep hammering away and wait it out. In this bold view, MacArthur was not alone. Joining him were no less than the 5-star admirals Chester Nimitz, William Leahy, and Ernest King, the 5-star Air Force Chief of Staff Henry Hap Arnold, and the former ambassador to Japan for 10 years, Joseph Grew. A greater lineup of expertise could hardly be assembled. Their strategy for ending the war, a siege. It lacks the drama of a battlefield victory or a city blown to smithereens by a bomb, but it works. It is the professional soldier's weapon of choice. It saves lives, both for the attacker as well as the defeated. In Washington, President Franklin Roosevelt, the Secretary of War Henry Stimson, Secretary of State James Burns, Assistant Secretary of State Dean Acheson, and Army Chief of Staff Marshall thought differently, and so President Truman would claim he had acted on the urgent advice of his military advisers. Not true. He relied on Marshall and the civilian advisers. When MacArthur and the admirals arrived in Japan for the surrender, they would find the Japanese people suffering from massive hunger and disease even worse than they or anybody in Washington ever imagined. They were stunned to learn that there had been no atom bomb and no invasion, just a blockade. Within 2 months, 10 million Japanese might have starved to death. So said the Japanese Minister of Finance to the United Press. Even if the minister was wrong by a month or two, still, 10 million of the enemy killed with no American casualties might have been a better way to bring the war to an end. No point in making an issue about it. The American generals and admirals would be quiet, and the American public would never know. Let the public be told, as President Truman said, that the bomb had been dropped to save American lives. The public would not be told that the bomb had saved a lot more Japanese lives than otherwise, and that maybe it hadn't been necessary in the first place, other than serve as a warning that